Hi everybody, my name is Alessandro Sicora. I'm from the University of Calabria. My presentation is about the main outcomes from a research on service user violence against social workers in Italy. This research and this presentation has been prepared together with the colleagues Urban Nordufter, Barbara Rosina and Mara Sanfelici. The research I'm going to mention is about an online survey who took place on March 2017 through a self-report questionnaires where it was asked to Italian social workers to report experiences of different forms of abuse. The total number of respondents were almost half or even more of the half of the population of social workers in Italy. In Italy, we have a total amount of 42,000 social workers, and more than 20,000 social workers replied to this questionnaire. This research, it's important to say, was promoted and founded by Italian National Council of Social Workers and its foundation and its regional councils of social workers. Before going to the numbers and words from this research, let's show you just two slides in terms of context of this research. So, as you can see from this slide, uh, at the end of the research, we are still analyzing some of its data, we realize that the research was not only about violence against social workers, but it was somehow about the quality of social work today in Italy from the point of view of the customer who expressed violent actions against social workers when they are not happy about what the social workers have done. And somehow this phenomenon, it can be considered like a part of an evolution of expectation. For example, in UK, books about this topic have been published 40 years ago, even 40, 30 years ago. In Italy, only 10 years ago. This phenomenon is not known at all in China and Russia. So these three blocks of countries, UK, Italy today, China, Russia in the future, are somehow countries with different speed in the development welfare state. So the first who started created more expectation, and when so it's easier to create dissatisfaction when my expectations are not met. So this could be an explanation for the whole phenomenon. Second and last slides of this introduction. This is the model of Swiss cheese slides made by reasons to explain mistakes, to explain failures in systems. It says somehow that every adverse event is never the consequence of the mistake or the misconduct or the wrong action or only one subject, but it's always the combination of latent failures. And also violence against social workers is the final result of the combination of more latent failures. Let's think, for example, in the first slide, budget cuts. This creates the pressures on agencies to have less workers with the same amount of work. This can create quicker and not so detailed responses in social work that can create some precondition of violence against social workers, dissatisfaction against social workers. And this means, in other terms, that when we talk about violence against social workers, we cannot find, and we don't have to find an scapegoat, but we have to consider that everybody is responsible and nobody's guilt. no time to better explain this concept. But after this introduction, let's go to the numbers and then to the words of this research. The respondents, as I said, were more than 20,000 social workers. The gender, the male population is only 6.8. Well, this is the percentage of male in the whole population of social workers in Italy. Then you can see the average age and work experiences. Okay, if these are the main data on the sample, this slide and next one better explain on what are the main results. The main results are that 88.2% of the social workers have involved in episodes of threats, intimidation, verbal aggressions during their entire professional career. 15.4% of all the social workers have been physically assaulted. And if you go down, you can see that 192 people between amongst the 20,000 have suffered physical violence with minor medical intervention, 126 with major medical intervention. These numbers are very important, impressive, and alarming. But what it can be considered even more alarming and impressive is about fear. Over a third of the sample, that is 35.8%, declared that they fear for their own safety or that of a family member during their professional life. 4% of this sample say that fear for their own safety every day. So 113 social workers go to work every day in Italy being afraid of their own safety. So you can easily imagine how this can impact on the quality of social work intervention. Let's stay on the numbers from this slide and the next slide. You can see some possible answer to the question who is more at risk in terms of verbal violence, that is the most spread form of violence. No differences between male and female, but there is a difference in terms of age and professional career. The younger and less experienced the social workers are, the more at risk of being assaulted they are too. The field where aggressions, verbal aggression, are more common are child care, child protection. Well, no surprise about this. Other interesting data trying to answer the questions once again who is more at risk is about being alone in office or in home visit, or about the opinion expressed by social workers that there are enough social workers in this agency. So as you can see, the people who say no, there are not enough social workers in agencies are more at risk. Of course, because they are aware by the fact that there are not enough social workers in these agencies. There are more at risk social workers who are always alone in office or who always make home visit alone. So, let's jump on the second and last part of this presentation, the quality of the violence against social workers in terms of the analysis of some open questions. We asked in an open questions to the social workers who replied the questionnaires. In your opinion, what are the factors impeding the occurrence of incidents of violence in services? That is, what are the factors divided in macro? So you can see that there are factors and label about main feature of social work intervention, but also there are some answers much more related on the lack of resources and weak social policies. Many were on communication, and many others were about no isolation, and many others are on structure, sorry, structural aspects. So if this is a map, trying the map to summarize the most relevant labels used to uh, analyze the answers on about the factors, protection factors in general. This is the same column in term percentage. The central and the right columns is about the factors protecting social workers against aggression. I mean aggressions to happen. And the last one is the protective factors when the aggression is happening. So you can see the attention of relation dynamics with users is the number one protection factor. Then there are some other things, but the number one is the attention to relational dynamics with the users. Just last slide to show some of the answers given by the social workers. Once again, the question was what can protect you? Why from aggressions? Let's see in these slides. The first answer, ability to recognize the frustration of users and be able to respond in a sudden, making sure that the user feels supported and supported anyway. So many are related with communication skills. And also the most relevant, the most emerging factors is to avoid symmetry, to be complementary and not be symmetrical, to be complementary community, no symmetric attitudes. There is for example, also the answer one social workers I like the most, who reply and says, I did not respond to the threats and insults, and then I offered him a coffee. So a gift is the most powerful example of complementary communication and not symmetric one. So I do something different from what the person do. If he shouts, I don't shout. Many thoughts can help social workers to deal with these situations, and the most emerging is to think that the person was fragile and had anger inside. Um the rare verbal aggression that I received, I read them mostly as outspouring of people I got angry at the time by, but I never felt in danger when I also followed an apology request from the users. Many other answers was given by the respondents, just three last one. I was assaulted when I worked in a community for drug addicts more than 5 years ago. I was thrown a chair. The other users protected me. Also, another answer highlighted the importance of the solidarity of the colleagues. The third one is also interested in terms of connecting with the wider frame of political social policy. The professional framework with which I manage the talks is what has most prevented the occurrence of incidents of violence against me. So, if on the one hand there is a listen to the person, the construction of a relationship, on the other it is necessary to postpone the message, to give the message that these services do not depend on the individual operator. In conclusion, from this research, the most relevant things are that social workers emphasize the centrality of the professional relationship in preventing and managing user aggression. In the background of this phenomenon, there is, however, the need for adequate organizations, resources, and social policies, as well as safety conditions of workplace. For sure, these results are aimed to create a debate between social workers in the social work community and outside about this topic, and most in general about the quality of social work today in Italy. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for listening.